Hello, everyone. As you may have noticed, I am seated within the frame, like the office interviews in the conference room, which is a perfect segue into me talking about The Office, because it's one of my favorite shows of all time. It's on Netflix right now, I believe, but I have watched it start to finish at least 10 times.
What?
It is that good. It's so good, especially the parts where James Spader is in there as Robert California. Unreal. It's just so funny, I can't handle it. I'm just getting the hankering to watch it again. There are parts that I will jump through, I will admit. Like, I can't think of... Whatever. There's parts that I skip, the episodes that I've seen that I... Like, there's this one episode where Dwight opens up in the intro thing and he's got a pumpkin on his head, and it just doesn't fit Dwight's personality because he's like, how do I get this pumpkin off my head? And it's like, you're Dwight, you know how to get a pumpkin off of your head. You know how to skin a live raccoon, I bet. Like, what is the problem with you getting a pumpkin off of your head? It's just really weird, and it doesn't fit his character. I don't know what writer they had for that, but it didn't work. So I always skip that episode just because it's unsettling.
Skin a live raccoon?
I regretted that almost immediately after I said it. But I think you know what I was going for. Enjoy the episode, and after this, you should watch The Office. What is your earliest memory?
My oldest memory is I remember, I feel like I remembered what it was like to like almost be born, and I just like vividly remembered as a 5-year-old this like big pulsing spider-like shape, big red pulsing spider-like shape in front of my face, and like a heartbeat sound. And that was like I can no longer visualize it exactly as I did the first time, but that's what I remember remembering. And my earliest normal memory is probably my mom pretending to be a lion and chasing me on all fours after I knew how to crawl, and I really liked it.
And you were terrified by it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So that's, how my entire growth started as a human.
Yeah, I sort of feel bad that this is the first memory that I have, but mine is that I remember I was living in Hood River, Oregon, and I was being babysat. Was this my first memory? It had to be around the same time as my first memory, because there's a couple of memories that I have from this particular house where I didn't have memories before this particular house. Mm-hmm. And I think I was 4 or 5 years old. But the memory is that I was being babysat. Mm-hmm. And I existed in a bunk bed, and my sister was also in that room, and I was on the top bunk, and I remember wanting water, and I don't know if I actually wanted water or if I just really wanted to not go to bed, because like now that my kids are in existence, like I kind of wonder whether they actually want all these things at bedtime or whether they're just trying to not actually go to bed. Mm-hmm. Because that's a convenient thing to avoid going to bed, is to say that you want a bunch of shit that you don't maybe actually want. So, but the memory is, it's terrible, I think. The memory is that I wanted water, and the babysitter came in and said, drink your spit.
Oh.
And that was it.
Wow.
That was the whole memory. Drink your spit. It's like, okay. Well, so I'm not getting water. Jeez. That's what me now says. I don't know what me then said, other than I probably shed some tears over that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have a very sharp memory from elementary school as well. I remember this so vividly, and it still gives me butterflies in my tummy, because it was very scary. It was the first time I ever got yelled at by someone who was not a parent.
Ooh.
And it was like, it really stuck with me. I remember it so vividly that it's like, I never want this feeling ever again. And I feel like it was one of the reasons why I was so quiet and timid when I was a kid, because I didn't want to upset anybody. It was so scary. But we were cutting out these little shapes of leprechauns for an art project, and we had these stencils that she had made out of cardstock, the expensive cardstock. And the stencil was too big for the paper that we had, the construction paper, so she was like, you'll just have to cut him a little short. And I thought by that she meant cut the feet off of the stencil. So I started to do that, and she was like, no, don't cut his feet off, and like screamed at me, and I started crying, and I was like, I don't want to do it.
No.
And that's like one of the first ones I have, and I was like, oh man, I think I had to go home early that day because I was so upset.